Salutations, boys and girls and kiddos of all ages. Welcome to another video of posing action figures with Toy the Poser. I am your host, Toy the Poser. And as you can tell, all around me on the ground here, and also in my arm, are Build-A-Figure pieces. So, let me set this down here with the rest of them and come a little closer to the camera so I can say hello to all newcomers and also explain that this is not your average toy review channel, just a showcasing of things I like to collect and everything in my collection. So I'll just get behind the camera there and get on with it, show you exactly what I mean. Whoop, whoop. Okay, the VOID Build-A-Figure wave came from the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure, consisting of these characters. All right, Power Princess, Crystar, New Warriors Justice, Vision, Namoretta, and Namor. All right, who I did reviews on already, so go check out those videos if you haven't seen. Only person I didn't get was Black Panther, and because I have a Black Panther, and also because he didn't come with a Build-A-Figure piece, and I don't like collecting characters I already have, so yeah, I saved money, okay? But all these guys did come with Build-A-Figure pieces, and we building this guy, and let's get, enough with the magic. Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys are on to me now by now, but unless you enjoyed it, then I appreciate you for that. But yeah, so now we're about to put him together, but before we do, I just want to say this. Here, let me bring in a monitor to explain. Okay, for the movie The Eternals, Hasbro Marvel Legends did make action figures for them. And although nobody actually liked these figures, they did, yeah, nobody liked them. They sat on shelves. It was all the characters, and you had the Gilgamesh, the guy in the bottom right or left or however you're sitting corner. He was the Build-A-Figure out of those guys. However, although I can't remember which one's which, but I do think but out of these 7 or 8, if you include the Build-A-Figure Gilgamesh, we did get 2 of these characters in regular or comic accurate form. All right, and that would be Icarus, who I did a video of already, and Cersei, who came in a 2-pack, and I didn't do a video of, but came in a 2-pack with Black Knight, and I already had a Black Knight figure, so I have Cersei now. So, moving on. Whoop, whoop. And I said all that to say that even though nobody actually didn't care for this line of action figures, for whatever reason, me myself personally, I didn't like them because I don't like collecting MCU versions if I don't have to. So since we have those 2 comic versions coming out, it's a strong possibility that we might get the others in comic book accurate form. But also in this line, not pictured, they also made a MCU version of Crow from the Eternals. And although Crow does not look like this in a comic, he looks like this, well, more first appearance wise. But yes, Crow was a deviant that also could shapeshift, but look more humanoid, could pass as human. So even though in the comic he looked mostly like this, but yeah, for some odd reason we got this version. Okay, let me fix the camera. This version of him. Okay, he is pushing back a little. Okay. Yeah. So, and camera just a bit. Okay. So, yeah. Now, like I said before, nobody liked these action figures. However, when I saw this, I was kind of, you know, I'll magical poof him out of that. All right. So, okay, magical. Oh, magical poof. Okay, that was horrible, but anyway. Okay. So, as I was saying, nobody liked the MCU version of the Eternals line, and I was no different. But because Crow, who's supposed to look like that, looked like this in the MCU. By the way, I didn't see the movie. I don't know if I said that or not. I did not see the movie, but yeah. So I don't know if he looked like this the entire time or like that the entire time, or either or. But anyway, as I was saying, I picked up this guy because he looked like mostly like the comic book version. No, I didn't break it. I was just trying to take it off to show you that he does have interchangeable parts. There is a left and a right part. I just so happen to get lucky and pick up the right, but you can fit them both on each hand, and it is cold. So yeah, there we go. All right, and he does have a back piece where you just basically match the shape. All right. Sheesh. I wasn't trying to do a review of him. Anyway, so because I said all that, I was saying all this to say that because he looked like this for whatever reason in the movie, I was like, I'll use him as a Void figure because, all right, get out of here, magical poof. Okay, so we'll probably bring him back later, move things to the side, but yes, move a monitor back up, I guess, because Crow looked like this. All right, normally I was like, well, okay, so but quick little history about Crow. He does shapeshift, so it's not like you can't use that if you got him or if you just want a Crow action figure. Yeah, but I got it because he looked like the Void in the comic. We'll explain the Void later in a minute, because I also had a Sentry. At the time, this Sentry was the version of the Sentry that I had. All right. And this was back in 2023. So yeah, none of these figures were made until then, till the Eternals came out, and along came, you know, because the Sentry, it did have, this is not the first Sentry that was ever made, not including but also not excluding the Lego version of the Sentry down there. All right, Toy Biz back in 2002 made Sentries on their Giant Man Build-A-Figure wave that was, I think, Walmart exclusive. So, and I did build Giant Man, but I do not remember getting these Sentries. So it could have been a piece that I picked up I don't know, online or a trade or something like that. But I don't remember getting these Sentries. So I do remember this guy being my first Sentry, that I have. So yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he came in the All-Father Build-A-Figure Wave Marvel Legends Hasbro's Marvel Legends version. So yeah. So moving on, speeding up a bit, I ended up with this version of the Sentry. And once again, I cannot remember which wave he came from. No, he didn't come in a Build-A-Figure wave. He came with an alternate head. All right, and I have it here. I was gonna, I cannot even remember, because as I said, I don't like the alternate head, which I end up screwing up and I guess taking the flame effect off of it. But yeah, I mean, and I got the alternate head for a reason. I can't remember. Doesn't matter, because this guy and this guy is the same guy, and I don't need those guys, so I did this. Got this guy, Kazar, for reasons. All right, for the collection, but it doesn't matter what I'm saying. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that Kazar was, I did want him. However, since just to move right along, just say I start head swapping. All right, because since I had 2 Sentries, now I need to figure out which one that I like the best. So when I start head swapping, for whatever reason, I like the way Kazar looked with that Sentry's head. All right, longer blonde hair, making him look more wilder or whatever. I guess more savage landy. I don't know, but that's when the dilemma came. I was like, okay, well then, which Sentry body do I want? Because they both aren't bad. It was just, this one's just older, but and whatever. But yes, cause it even if I put the Kazar head on this Sentry, which doesn't look horrible or whatever. Doesn't look horrible at all. We got this guy here, and I'm like, now what do I do with this? Sorry. Although this the skull head is supposed to be, I guess, when the Sentry merges with the VOID. More about the VOID in a minute. We get into him in a second, people. There is also a zombie version of Sentry that, if you want to use that zombie head, or I guess skull, if whatever it is, I don't know if it's a skull or just rotted flesh or whatever, but it doesn't matter because I keep messing up the head. I took that off anyway, and yeah, you can use that for that. Or there is a what they call a dark theme Sentry, where he basically once again merges with the VOID. And I am getting to a point where I'm going to explain the VOID. Sorry about all of this, but he has black hair when he merges with the VOID. So what do I do with that situation? We're gonna scooch this back a bit, bring in him with the IMAX head, take that off and figure out what to do with that later, and bring in this. All right, and as they say, Bob's your uncle. The people who say that, I don't know why they say that, but anyway. So yeah, that alternate, or what I call Dark Namor head from this Build-A-Figure wave. All right, from the yeah, that Namor, who I didn't want or need because I had a Namor action figure that I was fine with. So yeah, take the head off him, put it on him. That Sentry body, and now you have a dark Sentry head. It's just not the right color costume because he's normally in red. So yeah, dark Sentry. Now you got a regular Sentry, or this is what I'm going to use as a regular Sentry. You know, and I'll do a quick little explain about him and my wild long hair Khazar. All right, so with all that being said, these guys can go now. Whoop. We can finally talk about the Void, but not yet. Because in order to get to the Void, we have to talk about the Sentry. And the Sentry comic first started in 2000 just 2000, the year 2000. All right, was the Sentry was created, and the comic first was published, created by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee, and the Sentry himself is a meth addict. Sorry guys, but a guy named by the name of Robbie Reynolds. All right, and Robert Reynolds here was, like I said, a meth addict that broke into the lab of an unknown scientist, and I guess looking for some drugs, whatever, and drank a version of an experimental super soldier serum, what they was calling the Sentry serum at the time, and gained the power of, what was it, 10 exploding suns or something like that? No, a million exploding suns. I don't know how powerful that is, but eventually it gave him the power of the Sentry. And what the heck? How about this? Dum. All right, let's go. Okay, so yeah, a million exploding suns, whatever that power turns him into this guy. And not to put too fine a point on it, I should say, is that how you say it? Okay. Yeah, the Sentry, or Robert Reynolds, turned into the Sentry with the power of a million exploding suns. All right, by drinking a serum, a Canadian version of the super soldier serum, as I said, snuck into the lab, all of that, and yes, end up becoming the superhero, the Sentry. However, the Void is a little bit more complicated about it, because although the Void's supposed to be the darker version of Ryan Reynolds, the Sentry, basically his split personality, the Void still was labeled a little bit more in depth. The Void is basically just, as I read, the dark and destructive entity that bonded to Ryan Reynolds when he became the Sentry. So it's more of a force than a person, but can take it any shape it chooses. And even though the Void is a shape-shifting dark entity, it distinctive features vary according to the form it takes. Commonly exhibits fangs and claws, also exhibit tentacles. So yeah, which brings us to the Build-A-Figure, which comes with an array of parts. The torso that I think I can't remember who came with what and what came with who, but yes, it came with a torso. The head, of course, that looks like some kind of crab or whatever. I can't explain. Two alternate open hands. All right. The arm, two arms, of course. Two legs. That's over here. Okay. That with the feet look like this. And two sets, which really four back arms. So two sets, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 of things that go on its back. Okay, so how should we do this? Just gonna ball it all up here. All right, I'll get all this out of the way. Okay, ball it all up, and hopefully we can make a Build-A-Figure this way. Okay, and yeah, this is horrible. Okay, and hold on for a sec here. Okay, yeah, so there we have it. Okay, he's gonna cold pose, so let me adjust camera and put him on a stand. All right, so because yeesh. Okay, come on, because he's a tall boy. He's tall. All right, so he's gonna need a stand. All right, so wait, right? Well, I'm trying to trust me. I don't think it's gonna be a whole lot of posing with this guy because he's a crustacean with a lot of crustacean parts. All right, but let's put him on this rotating base. And there he goes. Trust me, guys, that is really the best I could do with him. All right, so I guess at this point, while he's rotating and spinning and spinning and rotating, yes, I guess I should say this is really the reason. Well, I'm glad that I decided to go ahead and build him, because technically, although he can come in any form, and I really wasn't going to build this guy, but this is technically the form that he's normally in. Okay, so unlike somebody like who was that? The what was this? What was it? The okay, what was it? Black Winter. Yes, that dark version of Thor that I did a review of. The Black Winter. The Black Winters can take any form too, and all of that, but it's just basically some dark cloud. All right, kind of like the Void here, but usually when people see the Void, he looks like this. And as I was saying about the Void, okay, and how complex he was and stuff like that, even though he's once again, the alter ego or dark version or persona or reality of Robert Reynolds, the Sentry. His history, I guess, in comics trace all the way back to circa 1600 BC. So yeah, and according to Norman Rad, the his name, okay, I'm not gonna do that this time. The Silver Surfer and Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. The Void is a dark entity that went into the Robert Reynolds when he consumed the serum. Of course, we know that. Yeah, I'm reading. Yeah, but both as in Robert Reynolds form, the Sentry form, and in, of course, the Void form. The Void has powers and abilities that are matter manipulation, regeneration. The Void can heal himself from virtually any injury. Immortality. So the Void is, for all intents and purposes, the Void cannot and will not even ever truly die. But the thing is that because he has resurrection. The Void can always resurrect himself, and of course superhuman strength, warp and speed. But when they say that, they never say how fast is warp speed or whatever. So, but it just says can boost the ability to think, move, run, and react at beyond superhuman speeds. So, is that faster than Quicksilver or somebody? I don't know. Superhuman stamina, superhuman agility, and superhuman reflexes, which I always thought was one and the same, and superhuman senses. And of course, the Sentry has all those things like heightened hearing, sight, and smell. So, yeah, but I guess invulnerability, the Void is, for all intents and purposes, almost completely impervious to harm. Once again, he fights the Sentry, so I mean, the Void possesses a telepath, empathy, and cyberpathic capabilities. All right, and flight, of course. All right, light generation, while a dark element, the Void, in tandem with the Sentry, often imitate light within darkness. So, weather manipulation, appearance alternance, of course. Like I said before, he can, alter his appearance to anything he can or want, but usually stays in that form, or mostly in that form, unless I guess he's bonded to Robert Reynolds, and the Void is capable of hosting most any individual he desires, and endowing them with his powers as he did with Doctor Strange. Yes, he bonded with Doctor Strange before during his battle with Loki over his title of Sorcerer Supreme. So with all that, laundry list of things that the Void has, the Void does have a weakness, and the Void can be sealed with powerful magic as was done by Doctor Strange before, and his weakness, which is, like I said, magic and chi. The Void was proven to be vulnerable to spiritual energy attacks like chi. And the only characters I know that have chi powers are Iron Fist and Shang-Chi, the master of Kung Fu. So yeah, anyway. And wrapping it up with a quick size comparison scale with our friend Michelangelo at the end here, representing the 1/18 scale, standing at 4 inches high, and because the regular size 1/6 scale, which is 1/12 scale line, a 6-inch action figure, is Stan the Man, my main man Stan, and at 7 inches, representing the 1/10 scale, is a custom Batman from McFarlane Toys, standing at 7 inches tall for the 1/10 scale, which means that I'm gonna have to adjust this cause the Void stands taller than everybody, even the one Batman. And to get a size of him, I took off the back pieces of it. So he is, man, 7 1/4. All right, just right under 7 1/2. All right, so yeah, there you have it, everybody. Okay, here I come back into the frame, so these guys can go. Whoop, whoop. All right, so there you have it, and that's the end of this. I'm glad we finally put together the Void. Okay, so we're just, how about we leave him alone? He looks okay back there. So until the next video, bye bye for now.